When you apply these tips to freelance platforms, I guarantee you that your success is going to go through the roof. Hello everyone, welcome to part 2 of this week's video on freelance platforms. In this section, I'm going to be giving you guys some tips and advice for success on these types of platforms based on my own experiences, as well as going through some mistakes that I think you probably should avoid. If you guys didn't catch the first part of this video series, then do be sure to click the link above now and follow the first part of this video where I outline a range of high-level to low-level freelance platforms that you can find out there.
Right, so let's get started.
Probably one of my biggest tips that I can give you is to look for jobs that you actually enjoy. I think when you're transitioning from being a full-time worker for someone else to a freelancer, the nice thing is that you actually get to have a bit more choice in what you're doing with your time. So it's important that you start tiptoeing into jobs that you actually really enjoy. There's such a huge variety of work out there that you can choose from. So there's really no need to be giving yourself a hard time and picking jobs that aren't really within the field that you'd like to start breaking into. Have a little bit of a shop around, like there's huge lists of opportunities that clients are posting, and you can really just take your time reading the job postings and figuring out what it is that is going to be maybe something you want to get into. There's honestly nothing worse than being stuck with a job that you don't enjoy just because it might pay really well. It's basically like being back in the rat race, so you might as well try and enjoy what you're doing and experiment a little bit with the industry that you're breaking into. Another huge tip is try not to undervalue yourself. So when you're charging clients or sending off proposals or invoices for a job that you're potentially taking on, just make sure that you're not underselling yourself, because people will see the value in you if you first see the value in yourself. So when you're thinking about how much you'd like to charge for a particular project, just back yourself, know your worth, know your skill level, and realize that you should always be charging at a price that you're happy to work for, because it really sucks when you undercharge for a project and you don't really enjoy it when you don't feel that you're being respected and that the time and energy that you're putting in is not getting what it deserves. So just remember that as an artist or a skilled individual, like, you have a unique set of skills that no one else has, like particularly in the creative field. No one can recreate what you can create. You are such a unique individual and you need to respect yourself. And when you charge a price that you're happy to be getting paid, I think you also go the extra mile for the client projects, and you really put in a lot of energy to make sure that you're delivering a really high standard, which is so much more worth it for you and so much more worth it for the client as well. The next thing I think is quite a good tip for when you're just starting out on platforms that are quite similar to Guru, Freelancer, Upwork is, you have to send off quite large proposals to people. And I think when you're writing the proposals, there can be a bit of a tendency to cut corners and have maybe a proposal that you copy and paste and you just change a few words here and there. But honestly, clients can see right through that. Like, when you write a proposal that is not personalized to the client and the project that they have posted about, people can tell straight away. So my big advice for actually winning jobs and getting success on these types of platforms is take some time, look at the project, understand what they want, like what are they looking for, what is it that they need from you, and how can your skill set and your experience reflect how you can add value to that project. So when you're writing the proposals, just really structure it well, make it personalized to every single project. Don't give into the temptation to copy and paste, because you'll send off like 100 proposals, but you're not going to get anything back, because no client is going to see value in a sort of half-assed attempt of applying for their job. They want someone who really cares about the project and sees the value in the vision of their project. Leading on from that, I think it's really important that when you are writing proposals and approaching potential clients on these platforms, that you ensure that you're able to schedule in a call as sort of the first communication after sending a proposal. I think it's really important that you get to feel the client's vibe, see them face to face on a Zoom call, and get a bit more of a detailed idea of what they actually need from you, because it's very difficult to make a final price on something when you only have like a vague text that they've posted, because sometimes clients can honestly post like a one-word project and they'll be saying their budget is $5,000, but it's like one line. Like, how do you know what you need to do for that? There's a temptation to just try and like do everything over message because it's easier than having the confidence to get up in front of a client and, you know, build a relationship. But I think it's really important that you get on a Zoom call or whatever as soon as you possibly can before starting the project, and really ask them, like, what's your budget? What's your time scale? What do you actually need from me? Like, what is your vision for this project? So I think it's really important to establish really early on, is this person good at communicating? Do they know what they want? Do I know if I can deliver this effectively for them? Clarify everything, ask any question. I guess that's another point. There are no stupid questions when you're applying for these jobs. Like, ask anything, because it's better to ask a million questions that might seem really obvious, and you know, you might get one question back and it might be something that seemed really obvious, but they tell you totally different to what you expected. So yeah, definitely ask questions, be on the ball with that, and make sure that you are taking the time to really understand the project. Another tip for success is just to really make sure that when you are building your profile, you're putting your best foot forward and you're only putting the best work that you have possible in your portfolio, because a portfolio is only as strong as your weakest project. So if you have projects that are not really that great and they're not showing, you know, the best version of yourself and what you have to offer, then I just would recommend not putting that in there. It's much better to have 5 or 6 projects in your portfolio that are really high quality, rather than having 100 projects where most of them are kind of average or not very good. So just make sure that you're putting your best foot forward and showing people on your profile that you are a really high quality freelancer, and that coming to you for your services is going to output that same quality of work. The final of my tips for success is to really make sure that you are building a strong relationship with the clients. Show them with your actions and with your professionalism, making sure that they feel comfortable throughout the whole process that what they want is being achieved and you are someone who really cares about their success. Leading on from that, if you have a good relationship with clients, they always recommend you to their friends. It's just so easy. Your clients will do the work for you. You'll get leads without even needing to look for them yourself. Also, if you have a good relationship with your clients, then you're much more likely to be given a 5-star review and a really good bit of feedback from them, which other clients on the platform can then see, and it gives them a lot of encouragement that you're a good person to work with, which really increases your chances of being hired or invited to jobs. Okay, now quickly I'm going to touch on a few big mistakes that I've sort of touched on a little bit, but I think we really need to talk about to make sure that you guys don't get yourself in a difficult position when you're just starting out on these platforms. So the first one, again, is just going back to that, like, not undervaluing yourself. It's really, really important that you don't undercharge for projects, because once you get into the habit of charging really cheap for things, I think you start to feed into this mentality that we're trying to really avoid, of being a struggling artist. If someone isn't willing to pay for what you think you deserve, then that client is not good enough for you, and you have to value yourself and just believe that what you are charging someone is going to allow you to deliver the most amount of value for them, and if they're not willing to give you that value back, then they don't deserve your time. So just really, please don't undercharge. A big mistake that a lot of people make, and definitely I have made many times on these platforms, is underestimating how long it's going to take you to do something. Universally, things always take longer than you think, and I still haven't perfected the art of estimating how long things will take me, but whatever you think it's going to take you to do, just remember that the client's going to have revisions, there's going to be things that come up in your life, there's going to be issues that you run into that you might get stuck on for a couple of days potentially that you're not quite happy with. So just always err on the side of, you know, overestimating as opposed to underestimating. You don't want the client to be unhappy because they think that you're going to deliver something on a certain time schedule and you just don't, and that can kind of lead to you getting bad reviews on these platforms. And it's really important on these platforms to do the best that you can to get good client reviews, because then your profile gets boosted to more people who are searching for freelancers. Final mistake is, don't get disheartened by the fact that you might not get jobs straight away. Like I said earlier, it's really important that you take the time to build a profile on these platforms, and I think once you've had your first couple of jobs, you find it's much easier to get clients because you have a couple of reviews on there that say that you're good at working and your results are really great. And it's also really important to just take your time getting over the learning curve that does come with all of these different platforms. There's a lot of competition, and you have to really put in a lot of time and energy into searching through jobs and, you know, deciding on which ones you're going to send proposals to, and then writing up the proposals and communicating with clients. And a lot of the time that you spend isn't going to lead directly to, you know, making money straight away, but you have to give yourself the breathing room to just go through that process. You know, I was on Upwork for 6 months before I got my first client job, and I was applying for jobs and making all the mistakes that I sort of mentioned earlier. Like I was copying and pasting proposals, I was like undervaluing myself, and I was just applying for jobs that I wasn't that bothered about, but I just wanted to make some money. And I think it came across in all of the applications that I was writing. And on top of that, my profile and my description wasn't really matching the sort of thing that I wanted to show clients. And it just takes a bit of time to build that profile, get comfortable with using these platforms, and to get to that level that you want to be at. So just be patient with yourself, give yourself time, don't get disheartened. You will get somewhere. You just have to give yourself the patience and the space to go through that. I hope you feel a little bit less mystified about freelance platforms, and I hope that you maybe have a couple of tips that you could then take into your practice so that you can be a bit more successful. I've really enjoyed making this video for you guys, and I'm really looking forward to next week, where we're going to be going over individual and private commissions and sort of talking about how you might get those, what they are, and what sorts of things you can expect from that area of making active income. As always, if you guys have any comments and you'd like to talk to me about any of your experiences using these platforms, maybe you have some that you'd like to suggest to people that I haven't mentioned, please feel free to drop a comment in the section below. Of course, give it a thumbs up if you like this video, so the algorithm knows to show this kind of content to more people like yourself who are looking for help in this area. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well, and save the playlist that I'm creating for this series so you can access all of this information whenever you like, and just keep up with everything that's coming in the following weeks. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.